Well, in studio with us right now is Curtis Scholl. He is the new superintendent of the Sister School District. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you.
So why don't you give us a little bit of history about yourself?
History about myself. I started my teaching career as a social studies teacher, also directed an alternative school program. I've coached football and baseball along the way. Transitioned into administration as an athletic director, then an assistant principal, and then became a principal, and kept progressing in my leadership.
Now, was all that here in Oregon, or?
Yes.
Okay. Started
at a small school on the coast, teaching at Sayusla High School.
Okay.
And then transitioned to Scappoose High School, and became a head baseball coach and social studies teacher at Westland High School, and then got into administration after that, starting at St. Helens, my alma mater, where I graduated, and then went back to Westland as an AP, and then at Sprague for the last 6 years as a high school principal.
I'm sure there's a lot of challenges that most school districts face in general. What are some of those that you think are pretty typical that you see happening here?
Yeah, well, I think the financial challenges are always there. I think trying to continue to provide as many services for your students as possible, facing what has been 6 years of a declining economy. I think we're starting to recover from that, but we're still in that. Fight. We've had declining enrollment plus the economy. So even though the economy has improved a little bit, one of our challenges is stabilizing our enrollment so we can hopefully start to look at adding programs back, or instead of this continual reduction.
What do you see as far as the attitude or the climate of the students themselves over the years? Have you seen a change one way or another?
I don't think of the students. I mean, I think of the adults in the business. It's been rough on them, knowing what the resource they used to have compared to what they're having to work with now. I think that's been challenging.
Right.
But even the adults, I think, have done a great job of being champions for kids and trying to provide the best service possible for students. So I think that's why, even though we've seen a decline, we've still seen scores and production stay pretty consistent because our adults are doing a great job of trying to dig in and keep provide the same level of service for our students.
Sure.
I think the students it's been pretty similar. And they get frustrated if they lose a program they were in. I understand we lost a couple of languages that were in Sisters that were taught that have gone away. So those kind of things are always obviously a struggle for the students and their parents.
Now, I'm going to speak about something that's a little bit close to my heart because I did it when I was a kid. Academia as a whole, and I see this with some students, not all clearly, but some, that you don't always recognize the value until it's too late. How do we get those kids excited about academia?
My impression is that part of that culture already exists in the district, that I think there is a group that value and really have bought in and are digging in with the academic portion. I think that's the challenge, is reaching all students. And how do we make that connection for all of our kids? Right. For them to understand that when they leave, and it may not be for college, but when they leave, that they have the skills in those essential areas to be able to be productive, start their own business, do a payroll, communicate effectively, whatever it may be, that they take those core classes seriously as well, because they do have an impact on us as adults and how we are, what we're able to do. And the jobs we're able to look at, or even if we're entrepreneurs and starting our own businesses, how that impacts us.
Exactly.
So I think that has I think there is that culture there. Again, the challenge is making sure all of our students understand that.
Sure. So over the years, technology has become more and more of a piece of the puzzle when we're talking about the educational process. What are the benefits do you see, and are there any detriments to that?
Well, technology is our friend until it isn't working.
Right.
That's the challenge. And I think the other challenge is for schools is to have students doing work at industry standards levels. And that usually is difficult for us because either spending the type of money we need to on technology, or it's gone out of date because we bought computers 4 years ago, but now the industry standard is something different because it's a 3 to 5 year lifespan on technology. So I think technology is one of those ongoing issues that we have. I see technology as a supplement. There are some places where, like, for example, in a studio, if that's a business that someone's interested in going in, being up to date is really critical. Different software programs, graphic design, some of those things, you need to make sure you're investing to make sure our students are getting that kind of exposure. So I think that technology, especially with the economy and the economic standpoint, it can be difficult.
Sure. Now, you've got a vested interest in the school district because you've actually got kids coming into it.
Yes.
So why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Once we are able to completely get transitioned over here, I'll have actually a kid in every school. I'll have one at the high school, 2 at the middle, and 1 at the elementary.
Wow.
So we're excited. I think there's great opportunities for them. So we're excited about them to come over and be a part of the Sisters community and get involved and look at and excited about the options they have available for them that the school provides. So it's. And
what school district were you guys coming from?
Salem Kzso.
Okay, that's a big one.
Yeah, 40,000 students.
So there's a big contrast there between everything that you had over there and over here. That can be a challenge in and of itself.
It is. I'm dealing with trying to look at my sophomore and his schedule, and compared to school, the high school he left had 1,700 students. So you had required classes every period. You had multiple options for electives, and the schedule here is a little more restrictive, but that's okay. There's trade-offs, right? There's trade-offs for big school to a small school, and the schedule's a little more restrictive. Class sizes aren't nearly as big.
Right.
He'll get a little more personal attention. So it'll be a positive trade-off.
Is there any difference in access to state funds because bigger and closer is Salem Kzso as opposed to us? It's kind of out here. Is that something we deal with?
The funding model per student is the same. I mean, that's calculated the same. The difference might be that Salem Kzso is large enough to maybe have groups that qualify for grant opportunities or other programs that maybe we don't have enough students that might qualify. We have a great relationship with the ESD, and so we have a consortium for grant writing. So we get really the Tri-County region comes together pretty well in looking at how do we get the services for kids that need it in those areas. So I don't think there's a strong disadvantage. I think we'll get equitable funding that way. But just by the economy of scale, that's more the challenge. Even though we get the same amount of dollars for kids, when you have a lot more kids and can be a little more efficient because of that, then it gives you other opportunities. So I think the size of a district like Salem Kzso, there's that advantage. But I don't think as far as the funding model, I don't think there's necessarily an advantage.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming in. Is there anything else we need to know?
No, I'm excited to be here. Look forward to getting to know the community better, starting to meet some of our patrons, and it's just been exciting to transition and looking forward to the school year.
Great. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
If you want to see the extended version of this interview, you can click the link above, and that'll be posted at the KZSOradio.org website or on Facebook.